Viking wounds nearly killed her. Not all Viking magic was meant to heal. Some of it could kill you. This story comes from the famous saga, Egil Saga, and it shows a side of the Viking Norse world that most people never expect. Egil Skallagrimsson had been travelling, moving from place to place, when he came to a farmstead and was offered shelter, a warm fire, food, a place to rest. Now, to most men, that would be enough. But Egil was not most men. No, he was not indeed. For he was something far different than most men. Because the moment he entered that house, he felt it. He definitely felt it indeed. For something there wasn't right. There was a young girl there, and she was very, very sick. Not wounded, not bleeding, just fading. Day by day, she had grown weaker, her skin pale, her strength gone, her voice barely more than a whisper. Just a whisper, like something unseen was slowly draining the life out of her. The farmer, he went and came to Egil. He was worried, tired, desperate, and he asked him for help. Now Egil was known as many things: a warrior, a poet, a man who had stood in battle and walked away, but he was also something else. He was a man of legend, a man who understood the runes. He understood Norse magic. So Egil went to see the girl. He didn't rush. He didn't speak straight away. He simply looked at her. He observed her, studied her, watched her breathing, the stillness in her body, the way the sickness seemed wrong. And then he asked a question. Has anything been done to try to help her? Looking like he did, he asked that question. The farmer hesitated, and then the farmer answered, yes, reluctantly. He said a young man had came to the farm and had tried to help. He had carved runes into a piece of whalebone. And then this young man placed the whalebone with the runes beneath her. Now, to many people, that might sound like healing, something thoughtful, something hopeful. But Egil's expression changed. It changed indeed. He asked to see it. And the farmer went and got the bone. He brought the bone to him, and Egil looked. He took it in his hands, turned it slowly, traced the carvings with his eyes. He knew that something was wrong. Line by line, mark by mark, he read the runes. And then he understood. He understood what the runes said and meant. These were not healing runes. These were not healing runes indeed, for Egil was angry that he had read these runes. They were wrong. They were very wrong. And he banged his fist on the table. Not just slightly wrong, dangerously wrong. And that, as you all know, is not a good sign. And then Egil spoke these words, words that still carry weight today. No man should carve runes unless he knows how to read them. Many are led astray by those dark letters. The young man who carved them meant to help. He believed he was doing the right thing. But he did not hope. And these wounds were harming the girl. But he didn't understand what he was doing, Egil said. And instead of curing the girl, he had made her worse. Slowly, quietly, like a sickness with no name. The runes affected the girl and made her this ill. So Egil, he very quickly acted. He took his knife and he began to scrape away the runes. Every line, every cut, every mark, gone were the runes that were carved by the young man. But he didn't stop there. The mighty man himself, Egil, he gathered the shavings, all of them, and he burned them on the hearth in the middle of the farmhouse, because even carved wrongly, they still carried meaning, still carried power. And runes, oh yes indeed, that powerful. Then Egil did something very different. He carved new runes with a new meaning, carefully, deliberately, not rushed, not guessed, but very precise. Each line placed exactly where it should be. For Egil was a master at runes and knew what he was doing. This was not hope, this was knowledge. And we all know this price that Odin, the old father, paid for knowledge. And when he was done, he set them in place and placed the rune stick under her. At first, nothing happened. At first, the girl did not get better. The room stayed quiet. The girl lay still in her bed with a straw mattress. Then slowly, something began to change. Yes, it did. Something positive was happening. Something magical was happening. Colour returned to her face. Her breathing deepened. Her strength began to come back. She was no longer looking pale. Day by day, hour by hour, she improved until finally she was well again. She got out of her bed and thanked Egil. And the farmhouse was no longer filled with fear. It was no longer filled with the fear that this girl would die. Now this isn't just a story about healing. It is a warning about runes. Know how to carve them, know how to read them, know how to cast them. And in the Viking runes were not decoration. They were magical. They were not symbols to carve lightly. They were knowledge. They were power. And like any form of power, used wrongly, it always had a bad result. They could harm, they could kill, just as easily as they could heal and make someone better. So that's what makes Egil different. That's what makes Egil Skallagrimsson stand out from the rest. And that is why his saga is so legendary. He wasn't just strong, he understood where others guessed. He knew, yes indeed he did, he knew the answer and solved this puzzle. Where others tried, he saw clearly the way to go forward, and this is what he did. And in a world full of warriors, that kind of knowledge might be the most dangerous thing of all. And I'm sure you agree that you should never mess with runes lightly. So here's the question. Here is the question indeed. Would you trust someone who thinks they know what they are doing to cast runes for you, to make a rune stick to get you better? Or someone who truly understands it? These are the tales of the Norse. These are the tales of Egil Skallagrimsson. These are the tales that I will tell in the future. For there are many tales like this. Sit by your fire, drink your water and your mead, and remember the tales of Egil Skallagrimsson, one of the most legendary Vikings, one of the most legendary Norsemen there ever was. And if I could go back in time, Egil would be one of the people I would like to meet. If you have enjoyed this video, if you have enjoyed this entertaining story, for stories should always be entertaining, then do subscribe to the channel and leave us a comment. What story would you like me to tell next? For I love to learn stories and I love to entertain. And until we meet again in the great halls from the land of the Norse to Northworthy, it is goodbye from me. Goodbye from Braggy with my lang siax and my sax. I speak these words and hear my words, for my words are my word fame.